Welcome back to the Edit Place. Today we are talking about editing 8K videos on a laptop, or really any computer that you have in front of you. Is it possible? What's the experience like? So yesterday on my main channel, I uploaded a video on the new DJI Ronin 4D 8K version that came out, and I thought it was a great opportunity to kind of showcase playback functionality within DaVinci Resolve. If you haven't seen that video, definitely check it out after this one. And if you want to get more in depth into learning about DaVinci Resolve, I do have a course. And for the next little bit, I'm making it 50% off, ultra affordable for anyone who wants to learn DaVinci Resolve, transition from Premiere to Resolve, Final Cut. And I actually just added a bunch of 8K clips from this video and camera, so you can download and test out for yourself. So check it out in the link in the description and try this code. All of you who have supported buying my courses and guides are what make these channels possible. So thank you. And let's get back to the video. So right off the bat, we have the project loaded here. We don't currently have any render cache or proxies set up. If I go under my project settings, you can actually see that I'm working on an 8K timeline, trying to make this even harder for myself for no reason. So we have a full 8K timeline with a bunch of 8K footage on it. So much of your experience is going to depend what sort of editor you are. I am what I like to call, like, I don't know, straight cutting like type of editor. My edits normally are just, it's all about cuts, man. I'm not using that many effects. I'll throw on titles, I'll have the occasional transition, maybe the occasional glitch effect. If you are one of those people like Sam Colder style, you got masks, you got compound clips on compound clips, you've got effects and things mixed together, then you are going to have a very different experience than I am, and it's going to take a lot more computing power, and it may not even be possible to do 8K stuff. Because if I zoom into this project right here, originally what I had is, you can see I have a little sound design glitch effect down here, but there's no glitch that happens in this area. This little clip right here actually had this like crazy glitch effect, and it like time lapsed and kind of transitioned into the next scene. And when I started the export, it originally said it was going to take like an hour to 10 minutes. And then once it got to this point, which is only about 25 seconds in, it just hung there for about 10 minutes as the counter went up to over 3 hours and 40 minutes. It didn't move past 3%. So I canceled the export, came back and tried removing the retime effect and just do the glitch effect, still to no avail. And then eventually I just had to remove the glitch effect altogether. So nothing happened. This clip basically just gets overtaken by the fade in of the title. And if you're curious, I'm working on a 2022 16-inch M2 Max MacBook Pro with 64 gigs of RAM, so that's not maxed out. 2 terabytes of storage, that doesn't really matter. But yeah, and also keep in mind that during this video I'm screen capturing, so that does take some computer performance out of it as well. So far we're honestly doing pretty well, minus the titles, which get a little finicky. If I press play here, now we're in a mix of, this is a lot of 4K iPhone footage, so it's not too difficult. And ProRes plays back very well because they're huge files, they're not very compressed. So honestly, you have easier time working in 8K ProRes footage than a lot of times working with like 4K H.265 footage from some mirrorless cameras. Because what a lot of people don't realize, like, it sounds like it's backwards logic that the bigger the file, the harder it would be to work with for programs and computers, but it's actually the opposite. Because when you compress a lot of data into a small package, the computer has to unpack that data. It takes more work rather than just like reading raw data. That's a super generalization, but hopefully it helps educate someone out there. If you are finding that you're having moments where you want it to be ultra smooth, like, let me jump to the 8K section here under resolution and codec. So we can see we're still getting around that 14, 15 frames for the title. Shout out to my wife, Michelle, for modeling this beautiful sample footage. So if you're experiencing playback issues, what's the first step that you want to check out? First, head up to your playback settings, and we're gonna go under timeline proxy resolution. And I'm so sorry. I lied. At some point yesterday, I switched to half resolution. We weren't at full. Rewind the tape real quick. Let's see how it plays back in the beginning. Oh, good. That felt more realistic. All right, now we're getting about 4 frames. Now, again, we're at 4K iPhone footage here. That's fine. This is actually 4K Red Komodo X footage. That plays back really nicely, even with color grade. So that's good to know. But let's jump back to our 8K section here. Yeah, that's rough. So we actually saw before what the first step is, which we saw that it worked, is change your playback proxy resolution. Even if you're not using proxies, like I have no proxies to any of these clips. It basically is just lowering the resolution during playback of the timeline. So we saw that going to half helps a lot. If I went to quarter, I wonder if that would allow this title to play. Yeah, so that makes that title play real nice. And you notice when you play it, everything looks more pixelated. So if you're going to color, you want to make sure that you are set to full, so that way you're coloring with looking at all the data you can. But we can see on quarter resolution, even going through this 8K footage, like it cuts through it. It's like a breeze, man. It's crazy. But if for some reason that is still not working for you, then you'll want to start getting into more optimized media. And this is either proxies or render cache. And you find this by going under playback. Right under where we just were is render cache. Right now I have it set to none. You can either go to smart or user. User just simply means that if I go to any of my clips here, and let's say I was having trouble with this section, then I'm just going to highlight these clips. I'm going to right click, and depending on what you've done to them, I've just color graded them. So I'm going to do render cache color output. But let's say you have a bunch of fusion effects attached to it, then you would want to do render cache fusion output. And currently the default is set to auto, which this will help in a second when we turn on smart renders. But if you want it to be, again, user, as in you're telling it, yes, please make a render cache for this, then I'm going to turn this on, or change it to on from auto. If you want to just let the system kind of analyze what spots it thinks it needs to play back smoothly, because not everything needs it, that's when you would choose the smart render cache. And we can see lines start to appear here. And again, I'm not really surprised that for this project, it pretty much thinks the majority of the projects should be rendered out. Now, where is it actually saving all these render files to? Before you do this, you'll want to turn that on in your settings, project settings, under master settings. If you scroll down to optimize media and render cache, you will see a bunch of options here. I like to change it to ProRes 422 proxy. It's a much smaller file size than the default 422 HQ. Again, ProRes plays back on most computers very nicely, at least Macs. And, but yeah, I just think changing to ProRes proxy, yes, it's gonna make it look a little more pixelated. It's gonna be lower quality, but it's gonna give you a better playback on more machines. So I change it to ProRes proxy, save on storage and performance, and then cache files location. So right now this is being saved to my internal drive, which a lot of people don't have a huge internal drive. So that's gonna fill up your space kind of quickly. So if I hit browse here and I go to my 4 terabyte drive that I have plugged in, you can find this project file. Usually what I'll do is I'll just create a folder called cache within the project, and I'll hit open. We can see the new path. And now I hit save. Now the only thing to take note is, did you see it right there? There was a blue line, that's what had been saved. If you change your path for where your cache files are being saved to, it will essentially not erase, but it will stop, it will have to remake all of the cache files for that project. So bear that in mind, and also you'll now want to find that other location and delete all those cache files so you're not, again, filling up that space. So ideally when you're setting up a project, you'll want to go in, and that's going to be one of the settings you pay attention to if you know that you're going to need to do render cache for playback and stuff. Now this will take a while. Obviously this is a completed project. Normally you do this as you're editing, so as you add a clip here and there. But that also creates a lot of waiting while editing, because every time you move a clip around, you add something to the timeline, it needs to take some moments and render out that cache. I can also start to hear my fans turn up because it's like, what are you doing to me? If you don't want to wait while you're editing, then the other option is to take that time before you start editing. And that's going to be if you go to, say, the media page. You've just set up your project, you've brought everything in, and you have all your bins and stuff. And let's say we go under this, again, this footage that we got of Michelle here. There's all the 8K footage, and I'm like, all right, this is gonna give me trouble. So I can go in here, highlight everything, and I'm going to right click and say generate proxy media. And automatically it's gonna start going in and creating proxy media. And again, this falls in line with the project settings where we just were. We can see some options here. I always leave it to choose automatically, but if you want to go to a specific percentage of the full resolution, you can do that here. And you'll also choose your proxy generation location. So again, mine, I forgot to change because I don't really use proxies, is set to my internal drive as well. If I were to use proxies, I would just send them to the same cache folder. The reason I just call folder cache is because then when I'm done with the project, just go to that one folder and just delete it. So I keep all my raw files, but I get rid of the cache files to get the space back. So now they're both set to the same path. All this is good. Proxy media, 422 proxies, and choose automatically. So it'll guess how powerful my computer is and what it's going to need to give me smooth playback. I'll hit save there. And so now if I were to right click and generate proxy media, I'm guesstimating it's probably going to take around 15 minutes to complete everything. The nice thing about this is once you kind of ingest all your footage, you create your proxies, go away, have lunch, whatever, come back. And once all your clips have proxies to them, now you can make your edits. Now you can edit with ease, because I'm just going to cancel this. Let's say my proxy's finished. I go back to my timeline here. Now, if I want to work with my proxies, I can go to this button right here, right next to our effects on and off button, and I can say prefer proxies. Again, I don't have any proxies, but if you have proxies, it will prefer them. And so if there's any clips that it's struggling to play back, it will just seamlessly use the proxies without you even noticing. So these are the basic ways to get better playback on your computer. Obviously, this isn't just for 8K timelines. If you are working with 4K footage and you're struggling, use all of these same tips and it's going to give you much better playback and allow you to give a much better editing experience. Again, if you want to get 50% off my full DaVinci Resolve course or iPhone filmmaking guide or anything else I make, go check out this code and link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.